Hello Whovians and welcome to my latest Doctor Who review, where today I review the 11th episode of Doctor Who Series 4, Turn Left, starring Catherine Tate as Donna Noble. This is also the 197th Doctor Who story overall. So, Turn Left, we are getting very close to the end of Series 4. This is actually the penultimate story of Series 4, and it also sees the return of former companion Rose Tyler. So, the plot of Turn Left is as follows. On an alien planet, Donna meets a fortune teller who launches her into a world based on one question. What would happen if Donna never met the 10th Doctor? Without the Doctor, the whole world is in ruin, and a mysterious blonde tries to warn Donna of the oncoming darkness. Now a simple refugee, Donna is the only one who can undo the damage. But how? Okay, so Turn Left. This is a very, very unique Doctor Who story. Not only because it is a Doctor Light story, but it's a rare story because it actually focuses wholly on the companion. It's not like Father's Day, where we focused heavily on Rose, but the Doctor was still very much in it. This is very much all about Donna. If the show was called Donna Who, this would be the episode to best represent that. I know in the past I've gone on record as saying I like Doctor Light stories, but I prefer stories with the Doctor in them, and I still stand by that. But on this one occasion, I actually really do love this story. Turn Left is actually a very clever Doctor Who story because it does something that kind of subverts the formula a little bit of Doctor Who, but it still is a very Doctor Who story, but it comes off as a very unique idea. I mean, the whole concept of the story is just fascinating. What would have happened if Donna had never met the Doctor? And the episode explores this in a very dramatic and also a very emotive way. We see all the events of the previous series since The Runaway Bride happen, and the Doctor actually dies in The Runaway Bride, with the events of The Runaway Bride. And then we gradually see more people start to die. So Martha dies, the Torchwood team dies, Sarah Jane dies, all because Donna never met the Doctor. And I love the fact that they treat it as like this massive piece of history, and that Donna was meant to meet the Doctor. And then she gets stuck in this sort of alternate universe, and she is helped by Rose. For some reason, which will be explained in the finale, Rose has managed to break through the barriers and cross into another world, and she's crossed over to this world to help Donna fix time and meet the Doctor. It's a great way to also reintroduce Rose. Billie Piper as Rose Tyler. It's nice to have her back, and I think she gives a great performance this time. There are moments when she does kind of act a bit like the Doctor, and I do find that a little bit annoying, but otherwise she gives a very good performance, and it's interesting to see how Rose is kind of changed a lot. She's actually, I think, grown up quite a bit since we last saw her in Series 2. But centrally, this is Catherine Tate's best performance by far. Catherine Tate as Donna Noble, I mean, wow. She is really, really good in this one. She does shout quite a lot, but you know, it's warranted, and I think you definitely feel her struggle. And it's interesting because there's this moment when Rose says to her, "You're the most important woman in all of creation," and then she says, "Why are you saying that to me? You know, I'm not even that. I'm nothing." It's sad to see that Donna has no self-confidence whatsoever, and that's because her mum doesn't believe in her. I really think the relationship between Donna and her mum is very interesting. It's very, there's a lot of friction there. Even in this alternate universe, which doesn't exist, there's a moment when Donna and her family have to move to Leeds and congregate in the same house with loads of other families, including this Italian family. And she comes in, and her mum's just sitting at the table very depressed and completely ignoring her. She's basically giving up on her, which is a real shame, to be honest. And Donna was like, "Well, yeah, you were right. I should have worked harder in school. I'll try and get a job." Because it's quite devastating what happens in that Donna, Wilfred and Sylvia, they win this raffle and they manage to escape the Titanic crashing down and destroying London. and then they have to be evacuated. I mean, it feels much like the Holocaust and how it was with sort of concentration camps. There's a really emotional scene when the Italian man Mussolini and his family, they get taken away to a labour camp. That's what they call it anyway. Wilfred knows exactly what is going on because he fought in the war, and then Donna realises only too soon what's happening, and they get taken away. It's a very emotional scene, and it kind of just goes to show how extreme and how desperate the world becomes without the Doctor. It relies so heavily on him, and I think as the situation starts to increase in extremity, Donna realises that I don't know what happened, but I should probably meet the Doctor now. So Turn Left is also a very personal story for Donna because, you know, we discover that she doesn't have any self-confidence, she doesn't feel good about herself, and meeting the Doctor gave her a sense of purpose in her life, and without the Doctor, not only did the world go to shit, Donna went to shit as well. She doesn't know what to do with herself anymore, and it's a real shame as well. The script is just incredibly clever by Russell T Davies, and it is a very interesting idea, and it's an idea that's never been done before, at least not to my knowledge, and it was actually probably the right time to do it because it's a way to connect back to the previous series, like Series 3 and Series 2, as well, not Series 2, but from The Runaway Bride and into Series 3, and even into the early events of Series 4 as well. And it all builds up to Donna eventually having to, well, sacrifice herself in this alternate world to fix everything. And so she ends up working with Unit and Rose, who hook her up to this machine, which is also linked to the TARDIS, because they managed to recover the TARDIS from the Thames. Rose tells Donna that she's going to die, and it's a very sad moment. And it was very powerful when Donna, you know, decided to let herself get run over by the van, and then causing the traffic jam, which would eventually cause other Donna to turn left. And then Rose gives Donna the warning about Bad Wolf, which obviously will lead into the finale. Number of levels, this is a very emotional story, and again, it's a very unorthodox Doctor Who story. I mean, David Tennant really doesn't feature very much in it. I don't think that's too much of an issue, to be honest, on this occasion. He has a couple of bits at the beginning and at the end, of course, but other than that, there's not much to say about his performance, because he's really not in it that much. Centrally, Catherine Tate and Billie Piper are the standouts here, particularly Catherine Tate. I mean, this is definitely her best performance by far. I also like the music as well. The music by Murray Gold is amazing. And the fact that this creature is like a beetle or something, and it's for some reason it's latched itself onto Donna's back, which is interesting. Then of course there's the end when the Doctor and Donna realise that Bad Wolf means the Daleks are coming, and then they see Bad Wolf everywhere, and the end of the universe is coming. All the universes are collapsing, the stars are going out, so they're really bigging up the stakes for this finale, and the Doctor realises immediately that it's Rose that's that's giving him this message, of course, because Bad Wolf is the thing that is connecting the Doctor and Rose. So overall, Turn Left, this is a really clever Doctor Who story. It's a very well-written story. It's very unorthodox and easily the best of the Doctor Light stories, and a very emotional Doctor Who story as well. So I will close off by giving Turn Left an easy 10 out of 10. So thank you very much for watching my review of Turn Left. What did you think of this story? Please comment down below, let me know. And stay tuned next time when I review the final story of Series 4. Woohoo! The Stolen Earth and Journey's End. So until then, thank you all for watching, and as always, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. See you soon. Bye for now.